items through interlibrary loan. There was no record of this item in OCLC, but there was a similar item in OCLC titled "A Message Purported to be from Robert G. Ingersol," which is located in a microfilm collection of miscellaneous historic printers in Canada. If you remember, the introduction stated that the booklet was a reprint from the periodical The Sermon. I then began to look into the publication of The Sermon, which was published by the Sermon Publishing Company. Further research into the periodical turned up this gentleman, Benjamin Fish Austin. Austin was born in Brighton, Ontario, and later became a Methodist minister. He was a noted teacher and preacher, and was heavily involved with the founding and running of Alma College, which is now part of the University of Toronto. He resigned his position as principal of the college to pursue his interest in spiritualism. After a few years, he was expelled from the Methodist Church for his heretical belief in spiritualism. He moved from Canada to Rochester, New York, after this expulsion, and moved the publishing company with him. The periodical changed name also. It became Reason. Austin preached in Rochester for a number of years, associating himself with the spiritualist church in the area. He later became ordained in the spiritualist church and eventually moved to California, where he died. What was the Sermon Publishing Company became the Austin Publishing Company. When he moved to the U.S., it followed him to the Rochester area. When he moved to California, it followed him there as well. So we can firmly establish that the Sermon originated this work, that it was a spiritualist newspaper, and that Austin was involved with this booklet's publication. In the introduction of the photocopy that we have, it is mentioned that the work was an expanded version of the original article that appeared in the Sermon in June 1903. However, the bibliographic records about the original microfilm indicate that the original was microfilm. The original that was microfilm is only about 6 pages long. So we have the 23-page long one. The OCLC record for the 6-page item also indicates that the item was published or republished by request from the Sermon. And you can see it, it's kind of hard to see, it's a little small. But this is a 500 field, which in library lingo is basically a note field. And what it does is it tells you anything that is interesting within the table of contents that might be helpful for people to know when they see the record. And as you can see, it says republished by request from the Sermon. We have 6 pages, 22 centimeters. And again, it's the purported one back to 1899. The introduction explains the controversy here. The spirit of Robert Ingersoll himself stated in the introduction that he and the medium are both better satisfied with the present message. Therefore, the 23-page version of this message from Ingersoll is in fact the 3rd edition of this message. It is possible that the message was so popular with the spiritualist community that both the Austin Publishing Company and the medium decided to publish an expanded version of the original article. I happened to be at the Library of Congress website one day looking up something for somebody else, and I thought I would try searching for the booklet on their website. OCLC is usually pretty good about having items that are at the Library of Congress when it deals with all the modern things, but not necessarily with all the older items. Anyway, once I was searching on the Library of Congress website, I found this record. This is from, if you go online, you can check that out there. This particular work is a message from Robert Ingersoll. It is 1904, 23 pages and 21 centimeters, and it's available there at the Library of Congress. The information was not located, or I'm sorry, I jumped a little bit. It shows the correct page numbers, size, and even the purported author's name of Mary E. Matter, which corresponds to the initials at the end of the introduction. Where this comes from is unclear, as librarians are very particular about not reporting information that doesn't show up on the items in hand. The information was not located on the item itself, but added from information when this item was added to the Library of Congress in their capacity as a copyright library, We know that 2 copies of any book copyrighted in the United States must be sent to the Library of Congress. It is my opinion that the librarian who added this to the old LC record had the copyright form with the booklet and then put the name in there. So this was a great find. We were able to find the medium's name. This is as far as the research has taken me. I have not found any more information on Mary E. Matter, but I will be following up so that we can have some other writings from this medium. It may be that she wrote for the sermon extensively, and once we have some copies of this, we can compare the writing in that way. Dr. Nichols' article will be comparing the questioned Ingersoll spirit writings to some of Ingersoll's other works. Hopefully, we will find some of Mary Matter's writings to compare, but even if we do not, Dr. Nichols feels confident that he will be able to prove the matter one way or another. His article will appear in December 2007 in the Skeptical Briefs. In conclusion, as you can see, there are many anomalies within the books that represent the thought, lectures, and writings of Robert Ingersoll. Ingersoll's popularity in the late 1800s has not continued through to today, but through the continued efforts of the Ingersoll Memorial Committee and meetings like this one, we might see a renaissance of Ingersoll's thought that goes beyond what it does today. Take questions if anybody has any? Oh, okay. Yes.
You're not off the hook yet.
Oh.
So in terms of authentic collections of the works of Ingersoll, what is available now and where can one obtain?
Well, if you're looking, I don't want to say authorized versus unauthorized today, because the Dresden Publishing Company, as far as I know, is out of business per se. I think they were absorbed by the Truth Seeker Company later on. I'm not 100% sure on that. But with keeping in that, I don't think that you buy a work now because it's out of copyright anyway, because it was published in 1900. I think we're still in the 1920s as far as copyright goes, so anybody can pick it up and reprint it. So that's why Kessinger and those other companies are doing it today. So strictly speaking, you can't find any that are unauthorized or authorized. They're all just Ingersoll's works now at this point.
But if one picks one randomly, what's the chance you get one that is not accurate?
I believe that the ones that were reprinted were taken directly from the Dresden edition. So if you're getting the Kessinger work, they took it actually probably photocopied or scanned in, took directly from those works. So those are actually what the Ingersoll's authorized works. So if you get the Dresden edition from them, you will have what was in the original Dresden edition.
And where can one have access?
Amazon can buy. You can buy one on Amazon right now.
Amazon has them.
Amazon. You can buy them through bookstores, independent bookstores. Probably you can special order it from anywhere.
Okay, thank you.
It is. I don't want to say it's mass market, but it is available pretty easily.
Thanks.
With his sort of speech beyond the grave, if you will, is there any idea what the extra 17 pages were? Because the original was 6, the new one's 23.
What I could glean from it was that he expanded on a whole bunch of stuff. He talked about his mother a lot and stuff like that, and I guess he didn't know his mother very well. His mother died when he was very young, as I recall, and so it was kind of like a second meeting with him as his mother. His mother was actually his spirit guide through heaven, actually, through some of it. So, but he was trying to explain what happens when you leave the earth. He really didn't say anything bad that, like, he didn't recant what he said on earth. It's just, this is so glorious over here, and this is why, you know. So it wasn't like bad about the religious community.